The draft right around the corner. We're joined now by ESPN draft analyst Matt Miller. His final rankings up on ESPN.com. Over 600 plus prospects. Matt, of course, will start with the Packers. Some perceived needs maybe entering this week at receiver, cornerback, defensive end. With that first round pick at the 23rd overall spot, where do you think they might go with that selection?
Well, because it's the Green Bay Packers, I think we can safely say it won't be a wide receiver in the first round. No matter how much it is in need, this franchise seems to be allergic to taking receivers in round one, but it has worked out for them. So I do think you go back to those positions, cornerback or defensive lineman, trying to build a defense for new coordinator Jeff Hafley, who had, I think, better success last year. Now it's about getting him the players that he wants. So a player like Jahdae Barron from Texas or Trey Amos from Ole Miss at the corner position will give them some toughness at the line of scrimmage, some speed and coverage. Then I also look at the defensive line. We have someone at Donovan Ezraku who played under Hafley at Boston College as an edge rusher. He would certainly be interesting in the first round. Derek Harmon from Oregon, a defensive lineman who would be a fit there. So there's a lot of different directions the Packers could go at 23.
And looking beyond that first round selection, only 8 picks for the Packers entering the draft this year. That would be tied for the least since 2019. We know Brian Gutekunst loves loading up on those selections if he can. But I'm wondering, if it is just 8 picks, is this a good year to maybe not have that flexibility down the board, or is this a year where we'd want to have as many picks as humanly possible?
This is a meat and potatoes draft, and it is very top heavy, I would say. This isn't the year where you need to load up on day 3 picks. In doing those 600 rankings, one thing that I noticed was there is a drop-off. We call them cliffs in the scouting world. There's a cliff this year to where you kind of start to run out of players in round 6 and round 7 who would, in a traditional year, be draftable players. So I think this is a fantastic draft to have multiple picks in round 2, multiple picks in round 3, maybe even into round 4. But once we get late on day 3, I think there is going to be a substantial drop-off in terms of talent. Now, if you have 8 picks, you want to use them. You want to take as many swings as you can get. I would always advocate for you. I mean, you have the picks. Let's use them. Let's go find good players, try to manipulate the board and the market that way. But this isn't a year where I would be very anxious about the fact that they're a little lighter on picks than normal.
If we're talking about those positions of need again, if we're talking corner, receiver, edge rusher to be specific, is there a spot that if the Packers don't go that route in round 1 and fans are panicking, oh no, we didn't get our guy there, is there a position group that's maybe stronger down the board that fans should relax and say you can come away with a good guy on day 2 or day 3 at that spot?
I would say this is actually the year to not take a wide receiver in the first round and instead take one in the second round. I find myself liking the players who are projected in round 2 as much or more than some of the players who are projected in round 1. I think 2 players from Iowa State, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, a wide receiver. Both are fantastic. Both could be there in the second round. Trey Harris from Ole Miss, another guy who he missed 5 games this year, but is so fluid as a route runner, so good at making plays down the field, and he has that body type to be a true X receiver, someone who can win on the outside of the formation. This, I think, is the year to actually go with the Packer mentality of wait on wide receivers. There's never going to be a bad wide receiver class again. It seems like there's so much talent in the college football ranks. So I would say this is the year. Go defense round 1 because there is a bit of a drop off at corner, not as much at defensive end, but I do think you can find really good value at wide receiver with that pick in round 2.
Like you said, Goody might be thinking along those lines already anyways. When it comes to that first round selection again, maybe regardless of position here, is there just a guy that you think could slip to a spot at 23 who might have that star potential, but it could slip to that spot because of any number of concerns, someone who might fit that bill?
Yeah, I mentioned Jahdae Barron a little bit earlier from Texas. Said he was one of the fastest defensive players at the NFL Scouting Combine, but he's a little bit shorter armed, a little bit shorter than a lot of scouts prefer for an outside cornerback. But he played as an inside corner prior to this year at Texas, bumped outside this year, won the Thorpe Award with 5 interceptions. He was a leader in that secondary and is someone that can step right away. He's not like Trent McDuffie to me. Trent McDuffie came out, played as a slot corner initially, moved to an outside corner spot last year, and he's been elite at both spots. So I think with Barron, a lot of us like to look at measurables and metrics to try to figure out where the slot players. Sometimes you have to break those rules. I think this is one of those drafts where you're willing to give a little bit on arm length if you know you can get a potentially great player.
I'll give you a quick hitter here. An over-under of quarterbacks taken in the first round will set the line at 2.5. What's your prediction?
I'll go over. I think it ends up being 3. I don't know that we'll see them fly off the board. I think Cam Ward goes at 1. Then we might have a little bit of a wait. It might remind Packer fans of the Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love situations where quarterbacks who were projected to go early had to sit and wait on draft night. But it's definitely going to be intriguing to see where Shedeur, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Tyler Shuck, to see where those 5 quarterbacks land. It's a good quarterback draft, despite what you may have heard. There's really good value, especially in round 2 and round 3 this year.
Matt, I know you're coming to Green Bay for the draft. Just how excited are you to be a part of ESPN's coverage here in Titletown?
Very excited. And I've never been to Green Bay. So, as a small town guy from Southwest Missouri, I'm very excited to get to Green Bay. I've loved the history of football since I was a little kid. So, it's going to be a fan moment for me, I'm sure, the first time I see Lambeau. And I can't wait to hang out with Packer fans for the week.